Should be good to go.
Yay.
Yay.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our... And that's my own voice coming through on the video. So welcome to our high voltage chat. I'm Chelsea from Sprinkled by Magic, and I've got Geoffrey from Theme Park Millennial and Mindy of This Fairy Tale Life, Fairy Tale Mindy, here to talk all about the reopening of Disney parks. Specifically, Shanghai is only open now, but what we've learned from Shanghai in the past 2 days it's been open and what it could mean going forward. So this is pretty exciting, guys.
Yeah, it's really just a crazy time and totally new. So it's interesting to watch it all unfold.
Yes. All right, I've got the chat window open so we can see people's comments. So if you guys are watching and you have any questions for us or want to jump in, we can see your comments. So please chat away with us. Awesome. I guess let's start with the beginning. So Shanghai has reduced capacity to 30%. And in order to access the park, you need a reservation. And the reservation system, from what I've seen for pass holders, is they're allowed one reservation a week. And once their day that they were able to go to the park comes, then it opens up the next day at 1 p.m. for them to make a reservation about a week out. So how do we feel like that would work in Orlando and Anaheim?
I think it'll work. I think the sheer amount of people that's going to be coming through is going to be the tricky part. Like Shanghai gets so many fewer people coming into their park than what Walt Disney World does, or even certainly Disneyland, that I don't see how they can open and be profitable at the kind of numbers they're doing at Shanghai. Like Shanghai is severely cut capacity. They're selling out, but they've severely cut capacity to the point that it's just unimaginable to see at a US Disney park, I think.
I saw somebody posted there, like in their stories, how dead it was. And they said, we usually only come on like the less touristy days, but this is a different level altogether. And it feels like a ghost town watching some of those stories.
Tomorrowland looks especially empty. Like, granted, I haven't seen a whole lot of Shanghai anyway, but it looks so weird to see like so many just wide open sidewalks. But I did hear they changed up the ticketing system a little bit out there. So it's not that you can only book once a week. It's you can only get a reservation right now for this week. So up until Saturday, and then they'll open up reservations later. So it's a little bit different than what it sounded like at first.
Quarantine in Disney posted that she was able to, they got a text message, all pass holders got a text message that they could make a new reservation. They had opened up the next week.
Next week. Yeah. But there are people that went Monday that also have reservations for Saturday. So they can go more than once this week. They just could only book for the next week. And that's what's so tricky about Shanghai right now, is it's all in Chinese. So even the people from the US that are out there, they're living out there, that don't necessarily speak full Chinese, they don't necessarily all know what they're signing up for either, and we certainly don't either. That makes it harder, I think, for us to try to decipher what it is. But there are several people that were there that first day on their Monday, and then they have a Saturday reservation as well, which is the same week. And then yesterday it opened up for them to book reservations again for the following week. So they're just doing reservations a week at a time, but they can book as many as they want, but they have to go and use their first reservation before they can book a second. So the Monday crowd couldn't go in before Monday and get Saturday. They were able to get Saturday after they used Monday. So that's kind of how it works, which makes sense. Like, use what you got, kind of like the Fast Pass system. Like, you can book another Fast Pass as soon as you use what you have. Same system with the reservations.
It's definitely interesting. I like the idea that you can, in theory, only get one reservation at a time, and that they're opening it up 1 week at a time, because Mindy, especially, you'll remember this, when we opened for that preview for a month in Batu, and it was like all systems go for the entire 5-week run. It was overloaded, it was chaos, and a lot of people got left out. I like the idea that every day at 1 o'clock they're opening reservations. That makes every day you feel like you have a chance to get in. I think that was fair.
Yeah, if they do a system where you can only make one reservation a week, that will definitely be very, very helpful. I'm with Geoffrey that it seems unimaginable that we can operate a park at 30%, but this whole situation is unimaginable. Like we're experiencing things that no one ever thought would happen. So I think that if that's what it takes to maintain some level of safety, then we're going to have to try a 25 or a 30% capacity at first. And I know for Disneyland, especially because it's all locals. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the percentage of locals at Disneyland.
Not to mention that we don't have the space that any of these other parks do. Like Shanghai has a lot of acreage. I was like, and Walt Disney World does as well, but Anaheim, we're on top of each other.
Yeah, they're going to have a severely reduced capacity, and the reservation system would definitely help, and it would make it more fair if you could only make one reservation a week. But there's still going to be a lot of people who want to go who are going to be left out.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I really believe Anaheim is going to be the last of the Disney parks in the world to open. Just watching what California's doing and the fact that it's so on top of each other, like I don't see how it's going to open anytime soon for Disneyland. The others we'll see. I don't want to speculate too much on like dates because like we don't know. None of us know. We can only go with what we're seeing from other parks. But,
not to mention the worst case could happen. There could be another outbreak and everything closes again anyway.
Right. That's my big concern right now with all the reopenings is this thing can resurge and we're right back to where we were a month ago. And that's what's concerning me a little is
same.
People don't take it as seriously anymore and it's still out there and it spreads again and we have to flatten the curve again because the curve doesn't just stay flat once you flatten it. That's not how this works, unfortunately.
Yes.
Well, if I can just interject, because just a couple hours ago, Los Angeles County announced that we could possibly be staying inside until the end of July. So
our LA public health director said we most certainly will be extending for another 3 months. And I was just like, whoa, here we go.
Well, for people who don't realize it, Disneyland is in Orange County, but it's right at the border of Orange and Los Angeles County. So I don't see, we're going to have situations where if Orange County reopens, people from LA County who shouldn't be going out will go to Orange County. And I just think it would be, I'm not saying it won't happen, but I think it would be very irresponsible for Disneyland to reopen before Los Angeles lifts their stay-at-home orders, because it's just going to be thing.
I agree, especially because so many of the people that do come to the parks do drive down, like myself, from the LA area. You know, so it's like it's putting a lot of things at risk. And again, it's that on top of each other issue. This is actually a great thing. So people in Shanghai, they reduced capacity. First of all, they've reduced capacity to 30%. And then Bob Chapek yesterday announced that every week they will be adding additional 5,000 people to that capacity. So, and they will continue to do that until government regulations either lift a lot further and they can welcome much more people, or if it's not working, then something else will happen altogether. But so let's say we've got our capacity restriction, we've got a reservation. The entrance now, we've seen videos of people entering Shanghai. Mm-hmm. My favorite part of all of this, and I don't know if any of you have caught it, as people were walking, was what was playing over the speakers of like, welcome to Shanghai Disney. It was like, welcome to Shanghai. Please maintain social distancing and do not touch anything. And I was like, did they just really anything? Like, that's not going to happen, clearly. But that was fascinating. And then you walk through a temperature scanner, which didn't seem to delay the process at all. Like, people just walk straight through and it checks their temperature, and there's someone behind a curtain that I guess jumps out and stops you if you don't match.
Right. That's amazing to me. I didn't realize for a while like that the tent was the temperature check. You see the signs and everyone's like, I'm going through the temperature check now. I'm like, you didn't stop. But they're like, it's in the air, I guess. I'm like, how does this work? And I'm not a science person by any means, so like I don't get it, but I'm trusting that it does. But that's amazing that they can like take my temperature because I'm walking through a tent, like, and all those years of going to the doctor where they had to like stick something in me to take my temperature. Could have just done it in the room. Come on.
It is amazing. what technology has available to us now. It's really, it blows my mind. Because at first when they suggested taking temperatures, I was like, this is going to be like a 2-hour security checkpoint. Like,
right, that's what I was picturing. Like, you have to stick something to my forehead. I'm like, are you going to sanitize it every time you touch someone? Because you have to at that point. But no, you just walk through a tent. Because Universal Orlando just came out today and said they're reopening City Walk partially and going to be checking the temperature of every guest. Yeah, certain non-Universal third-party restaurants plus the Universal store will be opening on Friday, but they're going to be requiring masks of everyone and temperature checking everyone. If you're over like 100.14, something like that,
so they're
temperature they won't let you in.
Before Disney Springs does, then.
Correct. Which I like.
Very
you
interesting.
have to think someone at Universal was like, we got to take advantage of this open weekend and this like 6-day period, but it'll be interesting to see how their temperature checks go because they're doing that for everyone. Like, they have a little bit better of a security back check set up there at Universal Orlando than Disney does anywhere. Like, it's always been a better, more streamlined process with the scanner and not the like physically searching a bag. But it'll be interesting to see how that goes because I think that will tell us even more than what Shanghai is. Because I don't think Disney Springs is doing temperature checks to get in there. Like, they're requiring face masks, they say, but not requiring the temperature checks.
And I had that for Universal City Walk that they were using the infrared scanners, temperature checks, and they were doing it in the parking garage. So I don't know if that means they're doing it in your car before you even park. They can turn if your temperature is too high. I don't think that the US will have the technology with the tents.
Maybe, yeah.
I did, but I'm pretty certain that we can at least get the little, like it looks like the police scanner. They kind of hold it a foot from your forehead, and they can see your temperature that way. So that's what I'm picturing for Universal.
Yeah.
I don't know if
we'll find out in 3 days, so it's coming quickly.
Do it in the car before you even park and
before you get out and contaminate anyone else or anything else.
That helps speed up the process a little bit. So hopefully it's something similar to that.
Right. We got a question in the comments from
Deb.
That.
Do we see Walt Disney World changing the Magic Band system? Plus they have those finger scans for everything. I feel like they have to with the finger scans.
I would think finger scans would have to be changed in some way, like you could or sanitizing it after every one, but that's a lot, and that's a lot to do.
When I was there during the height of the outbreak in March, because I was at Walt Disney World visiting when the parks shut down, and that at some point they just stopped doing the fingerprint. You just Magic Band.
I remember hearing that, and that makes sense. Like, they don't want to do that because that's potentially opening up to scams, but safety first. They're going to do what they have to do to keep people safe overall else, and that's what's giving me comfort in all this.
I can see them doing away with it for now.
Yeah, they'll figure out something else to replace it with or bring it back eventually because they'll have to. But I was amazed to see you there. Like, you were there when they closed the parks and still at a resort even after that week when the resorts were still open and the parks were closed. Like, really good timing from a blogging about it standpoint, really poor timing from a kind of ruin your trip, but you did make the most of it.
Yeah, obviously I did not want that to happen while I was there at the time. It was very interesting. I don't know, I wouldn't say that I'm fortunate in any way. But it definitely was interesting to be able to report on it and what it was like. And later,
first-hand experience.
Yeah, I can look back and think like, wow, I really wish I had not gone on that trip. At the time where I left, there was no talk of getting refunds, trips,
closing.
Closing. Yeah, at
that point, I think the entire world was still thinking this was going to be a 2-week thing.
Right.
Yeah, at the government. It was 15 cases and it would go away soon, and but just everything you heard was that it just, I remember Ebola, I remember H1N1, I remember all these things from the couple decades, and it never got to this point. So I just figured it was going to be like that again, and it changed practically overnight.
Yeah,
it did. Yeah, I was there the weekend before closing weekend, and it like we were aware of it, and we were using like a little more Germ-X and washing our hands a little more often, and like being a little more cautious. But like the word social distancing didn't even like become a popular term until mid next week at the earliest.
And what's crazy is that I was at Disneyland the weekend before closing, and that Sunday, the 8th, was our last scavenger hunt because we produced these giant scavenger hunts at the park with like 200 to 300 people. And people were already starting to be aware of it to the point that we had 4 full teams of people, teams hold up to 6, not show up because they were worried about the coronavirus. And everybody else was just kind of like, that's being silly. It's too much. We'll be fine. And and we make snack packs for everybody that's on our scavenger hunt. So I had a friend come over. I only bought prepackaged food items for this hunt. And like, we both washed our hands and wore gloves when we were making the packs and sealing the bags. And like, and that was a new experience just alone. And then 3 days later it was, and now the parks are just closing. And that was your last day for a while. Like that was insane. And now I can't imagine us producing these scavenger hunts. Like, if the parks reopened, let's say in September, we were supposed to do a hunt in June, a Marvel themed hunt. And let's say we pushed it to September. Now we have to hope people get reservations on the day of the hunt to be able to go and then participate in the hunt. I was like, and then we have to maintain social distancing. And I'm just like, I don't think these can happen anymore, or we have to.
Right.
Yeah,
it's going to change a lot.
Yeah. Like I was thinking of Dapper Day and looking at, Dapper Day kept rescheduling. They were originally in April and then they rescheduled to June, and now they rescheduled till August or September, maybe. I forget.
Did they reschedule the June date?
Why are you
they canceled the June date, and then they issued a statement saying that it was canceled, but that due to their talks with Disney, they feel confident that they can produce some sort of event in late August.
Which I want to know what those talks look like and what they are, because that seems, one, I don't see how Disney would approve that kind of messaging of talks with Disney, say late August. Like,
yes.
How much was Disney involved in that? I have a hard time.
I feel like Dapper Day overstepped a little bit when they put that out there.
I'm inclined to say that as well. Looks like we've got a few more questions. One on Run Disney races. So what do you think about the Run Disney races?
To talk about that.
Already selling out for January. Nervous this won't be over. Was supposed to run Paris for Disney Run weekend. That's a great question, Danielle.
Yeah, Run Disney. I was thinking about that this morning. I was actually hanging up my Run Disney medals, and I was like, oh my God, how do you do this now? They already have staggered start times, but the staggered start times are still giant groups of like 500 people. I was like, I think these races are definitely not happening until the parks are able to resume full capacity.
Yeah, I think it's ambitious that they are taking these full reservations for January. I know they want to like just keep it as normal as possible and not freak people out, but I don't see how they can do Marathon Weekend. I certainly don't see how they can do Wine and Dine that's already sold for November. Like, even if the parks are open and we're somewhat in reasonable levels of capacity in the parks, but still reduced, I don't see how Run Disney races can happen. Like, without severely cutting the numbers. And then at that point, is the cost of putting on that major race worth it? Like, for them, like, I hope it works out for everyone that got a bid, because they're selling out faster than ever, because everyone's just desperate to run and do something and get out and have something to look forward to, I think. But I hope they're not going to be disappointed.
I mean, they already canceled the April race, the Star Wars race, and everyone got their money back. So if Disney's not open, they'll refund everybody. They'll make it right. If it is open, then that's going to be a personal choice, whether you feel comfortable going to a crowded place. And the thing to remember is that we don't know, Disney doesn't know, we don't know when there will be adequate testing, treatment, possible vaccine. So we don't know when all that's going to happen. For all we know, by January, we could have at-home testing that we can do every day. We could have some kind of treatment. So if you do get sick, you can get a prescription from your doctor. I mean, think of everything that's happened in the last 2 months since this came to the US. And between now and January, amazing, incredible things could potentially happen. I think it's way too early to predict when that will. But I think Disney is trying to operate as normally as possible. And, you know, people can use their best judgment. I certainly would not want to do a Run Disney race right now, but maybe in January I will. And
all those people sweating next to each other, you're not about it? No?
And I've done a ton of Run Disney races like you, so I'm a big fan of it, and I get why people to get back to normal and sign up for it. I think that if you sign up for it, if you're comfortable with it and you sign up for it and it happens, then great. And if you sign up for it and Disney isn't ready, then they'll refund you.
Yeah, so, and that kind of goes with the other question we have in there. Somebody asked, do you think they'll keep extending the use date for pre-purchased park tickets? And that's much like annual passes. They're going to, once the parks are officially coming back up, they're going to sort all of that out. You know, I was like, there's no definites that we can give on anything, but I know they will sort it out, especially from my phone call that I had with ticketing about my own pass, because my pass was supposed to expire April 2nd, which was like 3 weeks into everything shutting down. And then they announced on April 4th that whole, like, we're going to stop charging people and we're refunding people that were charged between March 14th and April 4th. And I went, you charged me March 2nd and I got to use it for 6 days. So what about that? And I had to call them to be like, what does this mean? And they were like, don't worry, your pass is going to get extended however many days from whenever we reopen. And then at that point you can renew or do whatever you need to. And
in that sense, it worked out pretty well in your favor. If you were supposed to expire 3 weeks later and now you're going to get multiple months extended, like works out pretty well for you in that sense.
Mine expired April 1st and I renewed. I renewed during the closure, and I trust that they'll just extend the date for however long. But I really feel for people like my parents who have an annual pass and you know, they're in a high risk group. So even if the parks reopen, they're not comfortable going until there's a vaccine. But I can't imagine Disney will give refunds for that reason. So they're expecting that by their own choice, technically, they're going to be out money.
Yeah.
So when we started talking about the entrance and the temperature scanners and all that stuff, I was going somewhere with all of that of the next thing after you get past the temperature scanners is that there's these giant snaked queues with these mats on the ground that say, do not stand here. And you're supposed to stand in the places where the mat isn't. And they've closed of entrance gates. And I'm trying to imagine how this works at Disneyland. Like, luckily in Florida, separate parks, lots of area. We have one Esplanade Plaza. I was like, and on a normal day, those lines hit each other. I was like, so in my head, go with me on this. This is just a hardcore speculation of if I was Disney, my downtown Disney, close one of the lots like they used to do for like Run Disney registrations, stuff like that. Queue people in there for Disneyland to use the monorail, which will take way more time. But like, it's a way to get them in so that way you can use the Esplanade just for DCA. And that's the only way I can imagine doing it without just having people escorted and shuttled in masses from the tram area. You know, like I can't imagine how else that works to keep it.
Yeah, like it's hard to even imagine.
Yeah. I don't see them using the monorail anytime soon.
There is that, because then they have to disinfect between everybody too.
My personal opinion. I again, keeping in mind that capacity will be much lower than we're used to. There's not going to be, at Disneyland at least, there's not going to be as many people who want to open and close the park. There's going to be people the locals come in for a couple hours, hang out, have a meal, have a cocktail, and then go shopping and then go home.
Mhm.
So I don't think you're going to see the type of crowds that we're used to where the lines cross. I do think that Disney will work something out where they'll have one queue for Disney California Adventure and another queue for Disneyland Park, whether one goes the downtown Disney way or they're split on the Harbor Boulevard side. I have no doubt that they will not reopen until they have figured all of these
that out. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just trying to imagine how it would play out. Like if, like, just for fun, this is like fan testing for fun. My other question is park hopping. Do we have to make a reservation for one park only when we come in, or are we allowed to park hop?
Interesting. Yeah.
That'll be interesting because Shanghai only has the one park
Yeah.
that we haven't seen yet, which I think they're other, like Shanghai and Hong Kong are the only ones that only have the one park on site because if I'm right, yeah.
Yeah, Paris
Which
has
will be-
2, Tokyo has 2.
Disneyland has 2, we have 4. Disney World is
If you
special.
include the water parks, you have way
6.
more. Than 4.
Count Disney Springs, it's basically a theme park at this point, which that Springs terrifies me. I'll just say that. Like, I'm very curious to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
City Walk, I feel a little bit better about. Even like if downtown Disney wasn't so connected to the Disneyland parks, I'd feel better about it. But the size of Springs and the massive amounts of things to do, and just the people there and that are Florida locals that are gonna flock there on the 20th, I know.
Yes.
I'm scared.
Well, I mean, they did say that they were going to restrict parking and Disney Springs and parking capacity. So I'm very curious how that's actually going to play out in terms of helping keep the numbers low.
Yeah,
it's fascinating.
It's interesting. A lot of angry people in the parking area trying to get in and being turned away.
Yeah. Or just a giant queue of people waiting to get into the parking area.
In cars. Yeah, traffic out there on like Buena Vista is going to be.
That's what I'm picturing.
Boy.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I don't know if you guys have seen the images of like a Red Lobster reopening and the parking lot being full and the cars lined down the street. So, I mean, imagine just Disney Springs or City Walk or downtown Disney would feel like.
Right.
Yeah.
I could easily see it opening, and then soon after we hear, okay, we're gonna scale this back a bit, or we're gonna wait a little bit longer. Like you might get a few days, or maybe it goes well. Like maybe it goes well and they keep it open and it escalates everything else. Like it's hard to tell. It's going to be fun to watch for sure. Twitter is going to be in rare form.
Oh yeah, for sure. I especially love somebody in the chat room actually just said, I wonder if they'll do a price increase again next year. And I've been wondering that I know the Disney parks make up like 46% of the revenue for the Disney company in general. I'm like, operating at 30% capacity, are you even able to make money at that capacity from their operating
make more than what they're losing now?
Yeah. I mean, it's questionable though, because if you have to bring your cast members back and get them back on salary and you're paying them and
you have to balance it out.
Yeah.
It's what they're going to be paying cast members again, going to balance out with what they're making in. I think that's going to be what, like that plus the overall safety decision is going to be what makes these calls. Chapek said as much on the earnings call, like they're not going to open if they can't make a profit. Which makes sense. Disney is a business. We like to forget that because we like to think of Disney as this almighty thing in the sky that's like beautiful and can do no wrong and it's like different than everyone else, but like they're a business and a corporation and money is their bottom line at the end of the day, like anyone else. Like we have to remember that. Like if they can't open and like meet their costs and like also exceed their cost a little bit because they're not a nonprofit, they're not making magic for free, they're not going to open. Like,
and I think
it's cheaper to stay closed. It's cheaper to stay closed.
I think Disneyland will follow what Walt Disney World is doing with Disney Springs and what Shanghai did as well, and that our downtown will open first. And that's going to be a huge testament of whether our parks can open. Because like Mindy said, our park is mainly locals. Everyone's dying for something Disney. I could see our downtown Disney being a giant cluster, excuse my language, like, wow.
Be a mess. For whenever it reopens, whatever they have in place, whatever they tell us to do, it's going to be a complete mess. It's going to be chaos.
Yeah. And like, think about every time we've had a release or a special event at our park, like people camp out overnight and they go crazy.
That's a thing of the past.
No, people are still going to try to do it for this. I guarantee it.
They'll try.
I mean, but like, and it's also that thing where like people are like, you can tell me to wear a mask, but I'm not going to listen. Like, you're going to have a lot of people like that. And I actually, my heart already goes out to Disney security team and cast members who have tried to enforce these new rules, because people are getting increasingly angry, agitated. I'll just say this quickly: we are less of a obedient country than China is, and argue whether that's good or bad overall.
Much more individualistic as a culture.
But, I mean, this is life or death now, so we have to be respectful of these rules that are in place and respect other guests. But there's always going to be some people who don't care.
Yeah.
And I'm very worried for the cast members.
I'm very worried for the cast members, and I'm very worried for those of us that do follow the, somebody just asked in the chat room, do we think if Disneyland's going to open before Walt Disney World? I think we're all in agreement that Disneyland will be the last theme park to open out of all of them worldwide.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I could see Paris being close by, but based on what's going on in Europe, and Tokyo, we should point out, can do what they want separate from everything else, because Disney doesn't call those shots, or it's calling those shots. So then maybe they'll be last if they have different opinions, but of the Disney controlled Disney parks, Disneyland will be last.
Yeah, and it's just really only because of the things we mentioned. It's such a cramped area. It's so close to Los Angeles County, where our numbers are not going down yet, so we have a long way to go. California
is not going to open up as a state before anyone else.
Last ones to open up.
They basically came out today and said that we've started to reopen a few things because we're figuring out our new norm, and that they've loosened some restrictions, and that's all of the restrictions they're loosening for the next several weeks to see how this goes. I was like California, I'm very grateful to live here. I feel like we're doing it right. We are testing the right measures and all of that.
California and New York, I'm very impressed.
Yeah,
the rest of the country.
For Governor Newsom to run for president one day, I'm totally behind that. But beyond that, as just a human being, I'm also just sad. I miss my product launches and movie premieres and press screenings and all of the Disney theme park days, and I was very active. I had 3 to 4 events every day I was going to if I wasn't on, because I'm an actor out here. So even our productions are shut down, and UK announced that productions can start filming and Georgia reopened so they can go to Atlanta. I'm worried by the time California opens, there won't be a production left out here.
Right. Everyone else is opening movie theaters, but California is still closed and not making movies. So what are the rest of us going to be watching? That's a very good point.
Yeah, totally. So it's fascinating. Let's dig into some more exciting stuff. Let's move inside the parks. Let's talk about the queues for rides and how they're loading the rides. What have you guys seen in Shanghai, and do you think that works in our parks?
I've seen a mix of people following the markings. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Shanghai has apparently been over this for a while. And I'm saying over this by they haven't had a lot of, Shanghai in general did not get COVID-19 like the rest of China did. And they also have not had the numbers lately what they had early on. And so they're not all following the rules, but they don't all necessarily need to, we need to. I also do think the markings though are confusing, because some of them say, do not stand here, and some of the signs and markings say stand here.
Yeah.
And I'm
one uniform set of signs.
I don't remember, is Winnie the Pooh a stand here or do not stand here? I can't remember. And I'm 26 years old. What is a 6-year-old going to be able to remember? Like
fair.
I'm worried about kids in queues because even in general, they're all over the place. Like the amount of times I'm in a queue and there's a kid behind me running up and down the aisle, like just to keep themselves entertained and use that energy because they're in an hour-long line. Like they're still going to try to do that. Will the parent keep them from doing it? Will they be able to keep them from doing it? Because you can only do so much with an energetic child. That's some of my concern there is how is all that going to work? And is it going to be clearer than what it is in Shanghai? Because I'm looking at these pictures and I'm like pausing the video on Instagram, like I'm looking at it, I'm like, I can't tell if this is stand here or do not stand here.
Yeah.
And I'm pausing the video. If I'm just walking by or trying to figure it out in person, how am I going to do that then?
My favorite comment somebody made in their Instagram story was that they were like, there's 3 types of markings. There's the ones that are like, do not stand here. There's just the tape lines. And then there's the tape on the handrails that are
those are my fave.
and she was like, and nobody knows what to do with them. They don't know, am I supposed to stand on the line, between the line? And everyone's got their own version of where they're supposed to stand. So the social distancing isn't quite happening. It reminds me of what happens at my local Whole Foods. Tape on the ground and no one knows where to stand, you know?
Yeah. I do want to point out, like Bethany just said in the comments, Shanghai hasn't had to social distance for months. Like they're ahead of us, so far ahead of us that they know it's not as necessary. Like Disney's taking extra precautions there because they're Disney. Here, if they were to open today and do that, it wouldn't be an option. Like they'd have to do far more than what they're proposing there. And they're nowhere near opening today. Like that's the reality.
Yeah.
My favorite though is the show, like outside shows, just the boxes.
I love the
where
box.
you're like 6. I love that. I'm like, can we have that all the time? Like to watch stage shows and fireworks. And like it would Disney World in front of the castle would never happen. I'm like, you can barely get them all packed in like sardines and get them to move. Like.
But the thing is that like it kind of has to happen in the meantime, and Florida has the space for it. I want us to have it here. If they put those boxes in the ground in Anaheim, like 40 people get to watch the show.
Right.
Which is really sad. But at the same point, I would love that.
I love the concept in general. Like, stay away from me. Like, don't get up. You've been sweating all day in the parks, and now it's 8 p.m. Go away. Go to your box.
I often don't do fireworks or the night show because I get claustrophobic in those crowds. I was like, I can't handle it. I panic.
Yeah.
But yeah, those boxes, for those that are watching that don't know, they are doing these taped boxes that are 6 feet apart from any other box. And you and your party are on.
Mm-hmm.
So
we do Disney right. Said makes me sad thinking of princesses in masks or like being so separate. So face characters have not been wearing masks at Shanghai, but no characters are doing like actual meet and greets. They're all like on platforms or at a distance, and you can just take pictures of them or they're waving at you, which apparently out there they're going crazy for. Like they're all like gathering around them and waiting for them to come out and wave. And I'm like, I'm not like, I want to see Mickey as much as the next person, but like they're going like wild for it. I'm like, okay, take a look from a distance and keep it moving. But they haven't had any of the face characters wearing masks. I don't know that would be the same here. If they honestly, I could see them just not having any face characters out in the US.
I've heard,
depending on what it looks like when the opening happens.
I've heard rumors out here that it's going to be the same thing, that face characters will be present, but they will be far away and they won't be.
I think it just depends on what the situation looks like when that opening occurs. Is what's the situation? What do we have? What's the numbers looking like? Is it safe?
Jeff, you had a great point though when we were talking on Instagram about the safety of the face characters not wearing masks. I was like, you should talk about a little bit about your concern.
Yeah, so I was noticing in the stage show, which they have a beautiful stage show out there. If anyone hasn't seen the Castle Fanfare, it's beautiful. Anyway, on that show, they haven't had any of the characters, any of the performers even, not even like Disney characters, but just the dancers wearing face masks or even gloves or anything. So they've had Elsa and Anna next to each other, holding hands, looking each other face to face, like breathing in each other's faces, as Elsa and Anna do. Aladdin and Jasmine came up from below the stage because they have a lift in their stage in front of the castle, and it's beautiful. But they came up in a hot air balloon, and they were holding hands and like hugging and like grasping onto each other as they do. It was beautiful, but I'm like, how does this happen? How are they not doing this? But when I asked the people that were posting about it, the people out there in Shanghai, and I got to shout out my girl Angelique Majik on Instagram. Follow her. She is wonderful. So she was saying, and some others that I've asked have said the same, Shanghai's farther ahead, and they're doing the temperature checks for cast members out there. They're doing things before they go on stage and get and interact with anyone. So their priority is keeping them away from guests that could infect them. They're pretty well confident that the cast members performing in the shows, performing as characters, are not infected. They are not exposed. And so because of where Shanghai is at, and because of where their numbers are, and because of the testing they're doing for cast members, so I was concerned at first, and it was noticeable because none of them were wearing any face mask. And I'm like, you're telling every guest to do it, but then Elsa isn't. So it makes sense. The flip side to that is it would make it a lot easier, I think, to get kids to wear a face mask. And we were talking about this, Chelsea, is if a parent can say, look, Elsa, look, Snow White is wearing her face mask, you need to keep yours on the whole time. That I feel like would go a long way just in the like conversation piece of getting kids, or even getting some adults to keep their face mask on. If they see their favorite princess wearing it, might help. Anything will work at this point, I think, or help anyway. Like maybe from that point that could help, but from a logistical necessity standpoint, it doesn't sound like it's a necessity. It was a concern at first, but definitely something.
I actually still have the concern in a different place though. So I watched in character dining. So character dining is still happening, and it's the same price. And there is no character coming to your table and talking to you, and you cannot take a photo with them.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, so that's already just annoying me that you have to pay the same price for that. I was like, but the characters do come in, and they stand in opposite corners, and they wave at everyone, and they leave. And the restaurant capacity is greatly reduced as well. But here's my problem. When you're eating, you're not wearing a mask. You're allowed to not be wearing a mask. And I watched the princesses who aren't wearing masks walk into the dining area and wave to everyone, with everyone in there not wearing masks. And now I'm like, now they're being exposed to more people.
I mean, if they're from a distance, I think they're good. Like,
but still, like they still walk by a table, so you're within each other for a moment. Like it's extra exposure that we don't really need. And that's another place where it's like that person was just outside waving to people, and now they're in here doing this. And like, I just, it's not a perfect system yet, is my point.
No.
I also feel like if Walt Disney was alive today and he knew what was happening with the coronavirus, he'd have no problem with costuming, making masks that match the princess gowns.
Right. I feel like it's a necessity. Like it could be done. I don't think they're not doing it from a show standpoint, because when you think about the 4 keys, safety is always going to trump everything else. Show is the lowest thing that they're going to, well, no, I think courtesy comes after show. It's been a while.
Funny, because I completely disagree with you guys.
Really?
Go for it, Mindy. I want to hear it. Let's hear it.
I think that masks on face characters would be against like everything that Disney wants their parks to be. The fantasy element, like they don't wear masks in the movies, so why would they wear them in the park? I agree that it would be a great example and it could be a great teaching moment, but I think that Disney would not have face characters out before they put masks.
I agree with that part. I think they would pull them entirely before they had them in masks.
Yeah,
I'm okay with just having, the mascot characters, Mickey and friends and stuff like that, without the princesses until it's safe to. I'd totally be down for that.
I'm with you guys that my main concern right now is the health and safety of the cast members. And I wouldn't want them to reopen too early for my entertainment and put these face characters in situations like a restaurant. I mean, we've seen the videos and the photos, examples of people in restaurants getting sick because of the air circulation. It's not going to be an exception at Disney. That's still going to happen. So even if they're there for less than 5 minutes, it's still some type of exposure, and that makes me extremely uncomfortable. I personally want that. So again, Shanghai, very different from US that we're experiencing now. Their numbers have been low for much longer. So yes, they are in a safer environment overall than we are in either Anaheim or Orlando.
I don't believe somebody said that. So you have to show your countrywide health code to get into Disney. So I don't know if I was to fly to Shanghai, am I given one of those? Like, are they even allowing tourists to visit?
You couldn't fly into Shanghai at this point. Like, if you had a business reason or like a legitimate reason to get in, you could fly into Shanghai. You'd be quarantined for 14 days. You wouldn't, I don't think you'd get a QR code. You wouldn't be able to go to Disney. Like, you can't fly to Shanghai right now to go to Disney.
So my point is that the amount of tourist traffic that could have been there to cause more of an outbreak, the infected cases growing, is very minimal.
Yeah, it's not there. So
it's all local, because even like province to province, or like whatever they consider like province, counties, I forget, like I've heard what they call them.
Yeah.
But like area to area within China, that kind of travel is still restricted. Foreigner travel that are already there, they can't leave the provinces they're in. Like, if they're not in Shanghai in that area now, they can't go. And if they're a foreigner, they can't go anywhere.
And that's
other than where they currently are.
So fascinating to see what happens in Shanghai in the next month, because if their numbers increase with all of their safety methods, all of their tracking, all of their restrictions that we currently don't have in the US, if their numbers increase, then our country is in big trouble.
Yes, Mindy.
If it doesn't go well there,
it's not.
You might as well just throw in the towel.
Have to be again, testing, treatment, cures, vaccines, whatever you want to call it. And we have a long way to go to that. And so the whole thing again is just so fascinating to watch unfold.
Yes. We do Disney, right? Said I would not want to pay buffet prices to not have interactions. And I just want to say, in case you guys hadn't seen it, to make up for the fact that you can't take photos with the character, end of your meal, you are being given a 8x10 glossy photo that features, I believe, 4 characters on it. They're mainly like Mickey and Friends characters. That is autographed. I
still wouldn't be paying full price for a character meal if that's what I got. Like, I just wouldn't do it. Like, that's my choice. Like, if that's what you want, like, I would eat somewhere else.
It's not just like, well, that's it. At least there's something they're being given.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned buffet meals. I think buffets in general are a thing of the past for at least a while.
That's the other thing I noticed was, so all the buffet style restaurants in Shanghai, you can't go in and order buffet. They all have pre-packaged food items now that you just. We're
not going to see buffets open.
Yeah.
Like, I even work on a college campus. Like, we have a dining hall that's like, we used to be kind of buffet. Like, even before we closed, we were putting up sneeze guards, and it was like employees served you, not you reach in and grab your stuff. Like, it's not going back to buffet.
Yeah, it's definitely not. I was like, I'm very curious to see what restaurants like it in various parks become after this. I was like, for the first part, it'll be this prepackaged, but at some point, I think they'll be turned into something else. But I'm, as somebody that has food allergies, I have a lot of food allergies. This scares me a little bit because now I don't have the chefs coming out to help me with something. I have to pick something that's prepackaged. I was like, that worries me a little bit, because Disney is my happy place, because I have a major cooking anxiety, which is a bad combination when you have all the food allergies I have. I was like, so Disney's been my happy place. I know all of the chefs. They all take great care of me. It's why I go to Disney so often, is because I can eat so well. And then for the last 2 months, I haven't even been able to go have like a decent meal. Like, so that's one area that really concerns me. And I also noticed that quick service counters, that it's all ordering at the window, like outside the restaurant, picking up and going. You're not even eating there.
I think we'll even go a step farther and be all mobile order here in the US.
Possible.
it's all like they've been trying to push that anyway. I think they're gonna do that. I think virtual queues are gonna be, if not the norm and the only option, it'll be the preferred and primary option for mobile ordering food and virtual queuing for rides. I really hope they can figure out something with the My Disney Experience app for Disney World and the Disneyland app for Disneyland, or at least My Disney Experience. I know that's trash. I've used Disneyland app once. But that app cannot, like, if they increase the usage of that even more than it already is, they got to figure something out, because that app will crash every 5 minutes, and it already crashes every 6 minutes. So,
yeah,
but
they're gonna
I definitely see it happening.
I see that happening too. They're gonna have to have some kind of option for people who don't have smartphones, like they did for boarding passes for Rise of the Resistance.
Mhm.
There's gonna be kiosks. There's gonna be special circumstances, but everyone, I think that people who were okay with waiting in line and just not using mobile order before will want to use mobile order now, because they won't want to wait. They won't want to be.
I was resistant to mobile order and never used it until I went during Christmas week to Disney World. And then I decided, okay, I want corn dog nuggets from Casey's Corner on Main Street, and it's Christmas Eve. I'm going to mobile order. I am not waiting in this line.
Yeah.
I wish I could have mobile ordered a table with it, because that became the next challenge.
Yeah.
That's all. And so then most of these quick service places and these buffet places now are grab and go food. And we've established that you're allowed to take your mask off when you're eating. So people are now taking their food to a ride queue and taking their mask off and eating it in the line for the ride. Like, that worries me a little bit.
Hopefully that won't happen.
Yeah. Oh my God. We Do Disney Right said, do you think they'll do Rise of Resistance style scheduling for rides? I don't know that it'll be to that scale of like boarding pass at the start of the park. I'm picturing something like Max Pass at Disneyland, but large scale for everyone. Like, Disneyland already has that kind of setup. I personally, as a Disney Worlder, love Max Pass. Like, I think it's great. It was wonderful to not plan and book my fast passes ahead of time. Like, bless. But I think that will become certainly the norm at Disneyland, and then even Disney World. Like, you're basically booking fast passes the day of. They may not call it fast passes at Disney World, because they'll still want to have fast passes that you book ahead of time, because that's a marketing point. But you'll be getting these places in line, joining the virtual queue there. Universal, same way. Like, Universal's honestly been ahead of Disney in the virtual queue department for a while anyway. Like, Jimmy Fallon started it, then Fast and Furious, as much as I hate to even give that ride the decency of being named on a video chat. Fast and Furious is trash. I'll just say it.
I've never
the
seen
ride. The ride. The movies are pretty good, but the ride.
Yeah, it's all very fascinating. I don't know exactly what kind of systems they're going to implement for everything. I don't think they can do the Rise of the Resistance thing for every ride, because it's just too much to do.
Oh, yeah.
Not to mention with our Rise of the Resistance, if you're not at Disneyland in that first 60 seconds, so if your reservation is later in the day to re-enter the park, you're not going on any rides. So they can't quite.
I think that will look a little different with a reduced capacity.
Yeah.
Maybe not for Rise, because even reduced capacity, everyone's still going to go for Rise. But reduced capacity will mean, like, things will stay available. Like, I think that will look a little different.
The thing I am loving about Shanghai with the reduced capacity is every ride has a wait time of like 5 to 15 minutes. Like, the most you ever saw was 20 minutes. And I am trying Yeah.
Like, we will never see 5 minute wait for Tron. I don't care if it's a 10% capacity. Like,
I'm already in line to run Tron.
Right. I'm in line right now. You just don't know it. Like,
I'm literally, I brought my couch to Main Street. I'm waiting.
Right. Right. You're camped out. You both are. Like, Mindy's just like a few steps behind you.
She's down there. You can see her.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
We're maintaining social distance.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll look at what Main Street will look like when it reopens.
Yeah.
I found the new Disney wall. It's just a white wall. It's the next big Instagram trend.
Yeah, so good. Okay, so here's another point that is interesting that I have. The water fountains in Shanghai are all closed. You cannot drink from a water fountain. You cannot refill your water bottle. If you touch them, no water is coming out of them. I get that, but man, I really liked refilling my water bottle and being eco-friendly.
I've never used the water fountains at Disney, partially because water fountains in general have always kind of grossed me out, and I thought they were germ fests. So like I just like I'll use the refillable bottle stations. I like those, but I haven't always seen a ton of those, at least at Disney World. So I wasn't a big user of them. What I used was the free cups of water at the quick service stations.
Yes.
But I'm curious if that can even happen to the same level. I think it might. Like, if they open, they're gonna have to do something to give people water, especially if it's any type of summer, early fall opening.
Water all the time.
Right. Oh, right. That would sell bottles of water, but
I don't want to pay that.
Didn't have drinking fountains, and people had to buy a Coke or buy water. I think that's just going to be par for the course. If you want to go to Disneyland during a pandemic, you can't use the drinking.
You're paying for water.
Save some pennies for a water bottle, or I kind of don't see the point, because can't you just go to the sink, like when in the bathroom, and get water?
I mean,
there?
if you want to drink that water.
Yeah, slightly different water, but
it's the same.
Not quite the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not quite as purified.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of it. Like, there's just going to be a lot of things that we take for granted that we're not going to have anymore.
It's going to be a very different Disney experience. Like I've been saying to my followers all along, like, if you're looking at planning a first Disney trip right away when they first open, and you're planning to go, like,
don't do it.
That's your call. I would say don't do it. Save your money, save up, go in 2021, 2022, whenever things can kind of get back to even more normal, whenever that is, and have that even better trip then. It will be more magical. You will enjoy it more. If you are just dying to go and you have to go, like, for those of us that go all the time, like, I'm comfortable going. I'm comfortable with the sacrifices. I'll figure it out. But I go every month, every other month. Like, those of you that are locals, it makes sense. If you're going for a first trip or a once in a year, once in a lifetime, once every few years trip, save your money. Like, my personal recommendation is just save your money and wait and go later, because don't go in 2020. If the Disney parks open in 2020, which we don't know, don't go in 2020 or even early 2021. Like,
it does break my heart to think that somebody might go to Disney for their first time, maybe their only time in life, in this new normal.
Right. And I think it will still be magical. Like, people ask me that a lot. Like, will it still be magical? Do you think it'll still be fun and worth it? Like, yes. Like, you're going to be able to do things. You're going to get a good experience. It's going to be different.
Do everything they can to still make it an incredible experience.
But it's going to be different. It's going to be scaled back, and you're going to have to accept, like Mindy's been saying, some sacrifices, and that's your personal choice.
Yeah.
And if you have any control over it all and you can wait, do it.
Agree.
Stephanie
totally.
asked, are you going to go in 2020 if it opens? I'll be there as soon as possible when they open. As soon as I can get the vacation time approved, get a flight booked, I'll be there. But that's me, Disney blogger, Disney fanatic that wants to go and see what's going on. Like,
and we have to come and report for all of you guys, so you know.
Right, like, we're the wrong ones to be asking that. Mindy, will you go right away, or have you decided?
I mean, yes, I will. In that situation I talked about earlier, where if Orange County opens before LA County opens, then I am really going to have to make a moral decision. Because I want to follow the rules and I want to be safe. So if Disney's open without me, that will be very difficult. But
right, I want to follow the rules, but Disney needs me.
I will wear the masks. I will have the hand sanitizer. I will bring my Lysol wipes. I will. I don't plan on going in any attractions and waiting in any queues. I don't anticipate, even if there are shows, I don't want to wait in crowds for them. So I'm a different type of park goer.
Right.
I want to go and be there for the atmosphere. I don't want to go and be there and cram in as many attractions and visits with Mickey as I can. So
Like you said,
yeah.
rope drop to fireworks is a thing of the past for a lot of people.
Yeah, well, I mean, Shanghai's not even doing fireworks right now.
Yeah, I don't anticipate them doing parades or shows or fireworks or anything that would attract a large crowd.
Shanghai reduced their parade to 2 floats, and it's just a little mini thing that happens, and I thought that was nice.
It's cute.
I still think if that happened in Disneyland, that the entire 25% capacity people would be on Main Street, and it would be too many people.
Oh yeah.
I don't see how.
Yeah. Like, could you imagine they picked 2 floats from Magic Happens and not having all of the people just flock to those 2 floats? Like,
side note, Magic Happens. I'm in love with it.
Oh, you should be. It's incredible. Mindy,
it's a good.
Before we close.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, you cut out there.
Oh, it's still frozen. I think she asked if I saw it close, but yeah, and I did. Saw it a couple times. Yeah, it's very cute.
It's good.
I should have seen it by now in a different alternative universe. I saw it in April.
Nice.
I've about memorized the words to the song though, so.
Nice.
Bethany said, does it depend at all if there are still hundreds of thousands of COVID cases when it reopens? Yeah, part of it for me will also depend on numbers, like what it will look like if I fly. Like for me, it's like when World opens, not land. Can I fly to Florida and fly back and not be quarantined for 2 weeks on both ends? Like, what does that look like? Can I travel? Can I even get in the state? Like, as soon as I can get there and get into the park, I will go. That may not be right away. Also, if it's July or August before they open, I can't go to September because of my work, and I can't get those 2 months off. So it's like, for me, it varies, but I'm like, I kind of hope that is the case because then it gives some space and I have that like excuse to give myself like, no, I wouldn't be there anyway. I can never go in July and August. Like, that's fine. But also I want the cast members to get back to work. Like, all in all, it doesn't matter to me when I can go. I really want, I want the cast members to be safe, but I also really want to see them be able to get back to work and be able to keep making money and not have the economy in Central Florida and Southern California crash even more than it already is.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be felt for a long time.
Yeah, there's no really easy answer. There's going to be all around. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I do like that Shanghai, so there's no fireworks, but they have a castle lighting thing going on that they're doing at night with their reduced hours. So it's like the end of the night show kind of thing, and everyone's standing in their boxes. That's nice. But other than that, there are really no shows happening. The attractions that are closed at Shanghai are all show based. So like the stunt shows and things like that, which it's sad to think of a Disneyland or Disney World opening with no shows.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what some people go to Disney. A lot of people go to Disney just for the shows. Like, not even for the rides. Like, I mean, I'm a person that can go to Disney and not ride a single ride, see a single show, and I've had a good day. Like Mindy was saying, I can go for the atmosphere, and I'm happy. Like, I'm in my happy place. I can sit and stare at the castle for 5 hours, and
same.
I'm great. But that's not normal. I'm fully comfortable admitting that I'm not a normal Disney goer. Or maybe I am, because the 3 of us all say the same thing. So maybe we're more normal than
there's plenty of us that are like us as well. There are, as much as we feel like we're the exception, there's other people that feel just like we do.
Bethany, I'm dying.
Oh man.
Oh.
Yeah. Mindy, the comment was that Bob wants to cut live entertainment anyway, so he's probably stoked.
Yeah. A very good question.
I do feel bad for the man though. Like, I have my opinions about JPEG, but he came in at the worst time to be CEO. This is his legacy as
but you know what?
CEO.
This is the best test he can have for if he can handle the job.
Yeah, 20 years from now, we might look back and think like, wow, the management team in JPEG really got themselves out of a box. Like, we don't know.
Which also thank God that Iger is still there, because he's really the one.
He has the experience.
Yeah. But okay, so character meet and greets. We talked about this a little bit. There are no proper character meet and greets, but they are having like all of the characters come out on stage. Like imagine the stage in the Hollywood land where the Thor and Loki meet and greet is. The characters would come out on that stage. There'd be a rope 6 feet in front of that stage, and then there'd be boxes behind it. No more of those benches that people could stand in. And all of the Marvel characters will come out and they will wave and they will go away. And that is your character meet and greet. And as a Loki fan, this breaks my.
Yeah, I mean, I want to hug and get photos with characters as much as everybody, as much as all of us. Again, this is just what the current situation calls for. I think you have two choices. Do you just not want to see characters, or do you want to see them from 6 feet away and get a wave?
For me, it changes my. There were days that I used to go to Disney and it was just, I would sit there and wait for Loki to come out for all 6 visits and I would go home and it was fun. You know, that was my day. I think now it's more of like, oh, I guess I'm just riding rides and like character, like I'm not just going to go and take photos of characters from afar. That's not really something that's of interest to me, you know? Yeah. I don't know. It's all really fascinating, especially the combination of no characters and no shows. Like that also probably means no animation academy. I love going in and learning how to draw those characters because I can barely draw a stick figure. And those classes make me feel like I have some art skill, you know? Like I just got a reminder on my phone, guys, that there's a new episode of Fraggle Rock. I gotta go. No, I'm just kidding. I'm living for Fraggle Rock right now, if you guys have not watched the new show. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of speculation, a lot of stuff that's going on. There's a lot that we still don't even know. I don't know. Have either of you heard anything about how the restrooms are operating at Shanghai? Because I am very curious about this.
I haven't seen much at all about that, but that is a good point. Like, that's going to look different. Like, you can only social distance so much inside the restroom space, and some of them aren't the biggest. Like, they'll have to have distinct queues outside.
They'll let people, a certain amount of people in at a time. They'll have to be an attendant outside each restroom. Yeah. Only a certain people allowed. They'll probably block off stalls and sinks.
I feel like they have to permanently have someone on the janitorial staff inside every restroom cleaning between people.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, constant cleaning. There's, I think that there's going to be a lot of cast members who need to transition to doing different roles. Not necessarily saying that someone who worked in attractions might have to start cleaning restrooms, but I think we're going to have to have more people wiping down railings, wiping down tables.
I think everyone is going to in some way be janitorial. Like, part of their role, a good percentage is going to be that. Like, wherever you are.
Yeah, like we're going to have to see, even though we have a reduced guest capacity, and there will be a reduced cast member capacity, but I think that there will have to be more than they think, or than we think, because there will have to be that increase in janitorial.
Yep.
Which also could mean that Disney ends up having to hire more people than they did before, or make more part-time cast members full-time, because we need more hands on deck for the cleaning too. We don't know how exactly that could work, but it could be a positive for those people that skirt the line of part-time to full-time, because they need more time for sanitization between even opening and closing now. Especially
depending on what they do with the college program, and if they bring them back, and when they open, if they even have them to bring back. But I'm thinking, again, like I mentioned, my background and day job is in a university. Some of these schools aren't opening in the fall. They're staying online classes.
Yep.
Some of them are still, like, they're doing varying things. These schools where they're coming from are doing a lot of different things. How reasonable can Disney say, we're doing this college internship, even though your college is saying don't? Like, they're going to be dependent on what the universities do, and they may not have the same level of. Also, enrollment in colleges could be down, and that, because that's what we're thinking about, and that terrifies me as someone who needs enrollment for job security. But like, they're not going to have the same people looking to do that, or even if they want to bring them in, and because of the risk and because of that, bringing in that program and the training and all that it would take to train a CP versus hiring full-time and part-time. So we may see all full-time, part-time, seasonal cast members and no CPs for a while. Especially thinking like they may just keep the college program suspended until it's safe to not have that same level of risk, and the universities are put back in full swing, because universities are not going to be back in a full swing by August. Yep. I can guarantee you that.
And it's not just universities. A lot of the high schools, middle schools, and stuff out here too are the same way. They finally announced the date that schools are returning, but they still haven't decided if public school will be virtual or in person yet. And I have a lot of teacher friends out here, even friends that run after school programs that might not have a job anymore because there is no after school program. It's a fascinating time.
Yeah, someone also said Epcot almost can't function without DCP, international CP. Epcot will be very interesting to see what they do without those programs, because even with if they can bring back the international cast members, what country are they coming from, and is it safe to do that? What does it look like in that country with COVID-19 versus here? Is it safer to stay there, or is it safer for us to keep them there, or whatever it looks like? So they could easily keep that suspended as well. And I hate to say it, but Epcot could be one of the last Disney World parks to open. And Epcot's my favorite, and I love Epcot, and I could literally live there.
And Epcot's the one that has the majority of the special events too, the food and wine and
RIP Flower and Garden 2020.
Yeah.
We barely knew you.
That's how I feel about our food and wine here in DCA, and everybody.
Oh, yeah, we got it for 2 weeks.
Yeah, same with Flower and Garden. I think Flower and Garden and your food and wine started at about the same time, it seemed like.
I actually think I spent more time at Flower and Garden than I did at my own.
You probably did.
I got one day at Food and Wine, and then the next weekend was our hunt in Disneyland. So it was the week before to prep for the hunt. Me and Tiffany walked around, and she discovered a drink that she was like, "This is the best thing I have ever had at Disney. I'm getting this, and every day we come back until Food and Wine is gone." And she never got to have it again.
Yeah. Yeah. The World Showcase is entirely ICP participants. It could be open, but you won't get the same cultural experience. It will be different. They'll be running cash registers and serving food, but they won't look like they look like in the country.
Yeah. It's all really, really fascinating, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today. Do you guys have any other thoughts about all of this that we didn't get to? No?
I just think
I have a lot of thoughts. I just,
kind of in general, as you're deciphering news and receiving news and digesting news, look at your sources, please. If it doesn't come from Disney, take it with a huge grain of salt. And really, if it doesn't come from Disney, it's probably not true, or Universal, or whatever company brand we're talking about. We use Disney as an example for everything because that's the big one. But any of them, there's a lot of talk out there. There's a lot of speculation. We've done a lot of it tonight, and it's fun and it's interesting to talk about. But a lot of what we said tonight is speculation, except for the little bit on Universal City Walk that we talked about at the beginning.
Yeah, and then
Shanghai stuff
that we've actually seen from Shanghai happening.
Right. So just keep that in mind.
We didn't mention it so much, but also when they're loading rides right now, they're loading every other row. And I've noticed that on a lot of the rides, they're loading odd numbers and then even numbers, so that even between loadings, they can kind of wipe down the row before and give them a second to breathe off, which I think is a kind of
very smart.
Yeah, but just be mindful with any news, theme park or otherwise. Be mindful of what you're consuming and where it's coming from and the source, and keep that in mind. And if it doesn't come straight from a Disney source, Universal source, whatever, don't trust it. And also just be mindful of how much you're consuming, because you can go down a rabbit hole of all this and it can overwhelm you and be all consuming and not be good for you personally. So if that's not good and not what you need, take a break.
And just know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel too. At some point, we will all be back together, and we will be in whatever version of the new world looks like, and it will be okay.
Yeah, and I if I can add to that, I do want to say, just remember that this is a temporary situation. We will go back to some sense of normal. Disney and Universal are a privilege. We're not entitled to them. They are private property, so if they set rules to visit them, then we should respect the rules and we should follow them. I'm very troubled by some of the actions that I'm seeing in the United States with people thinking that they can't get sick for some reason.
Yeah.
There's a lot of economic worry, and I'm mindful of that, but we need to be protecting each other right now. So if Disney wants you to wear a mask and you don't want to wear a mask, then please don't come to Disney until it's safer. That's my 2 cents on it.
I absolutely agree. I think it's appalling the amount of people that take it on a very, I'm not sick, so I don't have to worry kind of mindset, because you might not have symptoms, but you might be carrying them. And you can, I saw a great infographic that was about, if you have the coronavirus and you're not wearing a mask and somebody that you're by has the mask on, that your chances of getting as the person with the mask, your chances of getting it are like 70% still. It only takes like 30% off of the risk, you know? Yeah. I was like, and if you're both wearing masks, there's still a chance you can get it. So like, just wear a mask. Like,
yeah, wear the mask, practice social distancing, just have respect for other people around you. It's not really a hard concept to me, but I feel like it is for some people. And so,
and there's some really cute masks coming out, guys. You can still have Disney stuff.
I get my Baby Yoda mask from Shop Disney.
Oh, love that.
You know, the Mad Teacup, the actual saucers, they made the designs into masks. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for that.
Mask collection is growing, and I don't want to make light of the situation, but if you have to do it, you might as well.
Make it stylish and make it cute.
Yeah, you might as well. It's going to be for a long time. So I hope everyone's getting used to the idea.
And also, when we all go back to the parks, because I've seen this happening in Shanghai and it's bothering me. And again, Shanghai has a lot less risk than we do out here, and they had a lot less cases and it's all local. But when we all get back together and we see our friends in the Disney parks, let's not take our masks off and then take a bunch of group photos together, please. Like, please.
Yeah, please. Please.
Yes.
Because I'm watching it happen and it's making me cringe.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Thank you for the chat. This has been, I love talking anything Disney. So thank you so much, Chelsea, for having me on.
Yeah, thank you both for joining. And make sure everybody that's out there, if you're watching this live with us, or if you're watching this in our archives later, because this will be up permanently on High Voltage's YouTube, follow Jeff at Theme Park Millennial, follow Mindy at Fairy Tale Mindy, and follow me and my friend Tiffany at Sprinkled by Magic for more constant nerdy Disney goodness.
All three of us, pretty much. That's a good way to describe all of our content, I think. Yeah. Mindy, I got to say, as we wrap up, the Lysol photo shoot.
Just real quick, I woke up, I scored some Lysol wipes, and I did like a little photo shoot with them and put it on my Instagram. I woke up this morning and I got the notice that was like, this post is doing 90 or better than 90% of your current posts. I'm like,
I love that. All the money you probably spend on all your other posts and all the time and effort, and you just cuddled with a Lysol bottle, and that did it.
Yeah, all you needed was some Lysol, Mindy. Who knew? Like, #1 with Lysol.
This is your claim to fame. All right, well, thank you all for watching. Thanks to the two of you for hopping on this and inviting me. This was super fun.
Yeah, I'm going to end the stream to YouTube, but stay around for a second, guys, because I'll talk to both of you. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We love you, and stay safe.
Stay safe.